Please understand that your freedom is from fully allowing your soul to rejoin with your physicality. This is an amazing instrument. Do not judge it. Welcome it. Welcome its capacities, for most human beings are only utilizing a tiny fraction of its wisdom and guidance. And this is how humanity can be harvested, controlled, manipulated very easily. You must bring yourself home.
In essence, what is we're learning now is that the teachings of the Maya, we're talking about how there were these 7 suns, but we were rotating around in a big circle around the central sun, Alcyone. And this diagram really shows that our solar system is at the bottom left, and you can see our Earth rotating around the sun and our solar system all in a big circle rotating around what the Maya referred to as the anti-center. And part of our central, that we would move around the central sun, but all of this system would be moving around in what we call the Milky Way in one great big circle around the central universe. Here's the guts of what I want to say. Notice that I have some red bars down at the bottom that talk about 12,000 years. And then that toro, the donut shape symbol there represents what we call the photonic belt, or the photon belt, or photon band of our central sun, Alcyone. In other words, this is photons, which are either waves or particles of light that are being created and emitted and sending out into space all the time by Alcyone. We, as we travel through our solar system rotating around our sun, that we consider to be a 365-day period. Well, the time it takes for our solar system to make one complete rotation around Alcyone is 26,000 years. It's called the Great Year. And while we're moving through that 26,000 years, we go from a time of darkness, which is what we've been in for the last 12,000 years, into the photon belt or band, where we begin to get showered with light that comes from our central sun, from Alcyone. And I want to share with you that many, many people say that this is the energy that comes from the divine feminine, from the mother, that Alcyone is our mother sun. And this light that we're receiving as we entered into 2020, according to me and other people who feel like the Gregorian calendar is not right, we have been in this photonic energy, this light energy that's hitting us constantly, and it's having an effect on us. Now, it says in the teachings that we would go through this photon belt for 2,000 years. And if you go back in history and you look at what happened 13 or 14,000 years ago, this was when most of the huge pyramids that were built, when we hear about Atlantis and Lemuria or Mu, those civilizations that are no longer with us were existing at that time. And then 12,000 years after, well, let's just go back 12,000 years ago, as of our this last year, we were in a time of darkness, and now we've entered back into a time of light. And I want us all to understand that this sounds crazy because Pleiades is actually 440 light years away from us. However, keep in mind that light travels very fast, and the amount of light that Alcyone, our central sun, is actually putting out every day, all day long, every moment of every second, we're receiving now this light again, which we haven't had in our solar system. We haven't felt that for 12,000 years, and so we've returned. Now, I just want to say that this information has really enlightened me, because as I traveled through Guatemala learning from my teachers, they would constantly talk about how the time would come when we would enter back into the time of light, when we would remember who we are. And that's the primary purpose for our groups, is to help us all remember who we really are and to reignite that light within our hearts and have our heart connect to the central sun, to Alcyone, or to the Pleiades, however you feel comfortable doing it. But to start feeling this light energy and understand that photons are not only just particles and waves, they are particles and waves of love. So welcome back into the light. And remember that you are these amazing, magnificent beings of light and form. And we are now experiencing what it feels like to be showered with loving light. So I would like to just also say that the Mayan teachers have always said that when we pray to connect to our earth, to our sky, to our air, to our water, we always would do a prayer, and I'll do it in Spanish. Corazón de cielo, corazón de la tierra, corazón de aire, corazón de agua, en mi corazón. So our hearts are the fifth element in this, connecting back to the center of Alcyone, to the center of our cosmos, to the earth, to air, and to water, and to our hearts. So through that prayer, we actually make an announcement that we want to connect with the heart of heaven, the heart of earth, the heart of air, and the heart of water. The key word heaven in the first line is that we want to remember that heaven is within us, that it isn't out in outer space. It's actually right within us. However, our suns are all connected. And so we're connecting to that light that's the central sun in our super universe that we're traveling through. Okay, I'm glad that I've shared all of that with you, because I'll be doing a talk on March 10th for the library here in Pueblo, and I'll make sure that it's recorded so that I can send you all links. But it'll be an entire presentation on more information about this, our connection to the Pleiades, why the Maya used the pyramids that they built, and how they resonate with the sun on the equinoxes. And all of that information is all connected to human beings living on planet Earth at this time. And we were told that the Maya had disappeared, that they had just left. And now their elders are saying that we are the ones that have returned. We are the Maya that's come back. We're back on planet Earth. So let's do a little breathing and relax before we move to the next section of our
Eduardo,
our discussion here, our dialogue.
I just wanted to give everybody a chance who had any questions about what Eduardo just shared before we move to the next stage, because I also have kind of a bladder that's starting to knock on the door and say you're going to need to relieve me soon. And if other people have that same feeling, then I want to give us a break before we launch into that.
Okay.
Did anybody, we can unmute you if you would like to, I forgot to mention the raise your hand part, Lori or Zuzana. Just like raise your hand if you have a question and we'll unmute you about anything that Eduardo just shared. I can't see
Thank you.
that.
I had a question about, is that gyre around Alcyone in a clockwise motion? So in your diagram, our solar system has passed through that photon wheel.
We're moving in a counterclockwise movement in around our anti-center. And that diagram just was to show everyone what our solar system looked like as it was coming back into before it comes back into the photon belt. So I could have done another drawing showing our Earth and sun and everything in the photon belt, and I could probably do that pretty soon and then have another diagram to show you. But I just wanted to try to get everyone to understand how the Pleiades is these seven sisters, the seven suns, and there's actually millions of suns there. But they've also been very clear about the fact that as our solar system moves through this photon belt, we are being showered by trillions and trillions of beams of loving light, what was referred to as divine mother's light. And we are receiving that every day. However, if we don't know about it, it's difficult for us to really pay attention to what we're feeling. And so the more time we can spend in the sun, recognizing that we're out in the light, the more it'll have a positive effect on us, and especially our hearts. Our heart is really the connection between our central sun and us and our planet. And that's another important part of what we'll be talking about on the 10th is how does the sun affect our hearts, and how does our heart affect everything else?
So if I understand, so how long, it looked like then the photon belt is a limited field in the entire cycle that we might pass through 2 times in 26,000 years. And passing through that photon belt in the Mayan calendar, is there a time period for the pass through of the photon belt?
Yes.
How many years?
Well, yeah, they would say specifically that it's every we go 12,000 years of darkness, and then we enter in for 2,000 years, and then we go through another 12,000 years of darkness. And we've just come out of 12,000 years of darkness into what we are calling the time of Aquarius.
I just want to say that I'm always grateful for Eduardo in his way of gathering and synthesizing data. The data that I have received over my life and in the unfolding of this work that I've just only begun to synthesize within myself and understand is my work is about how to adapt to this light and what kinds of feelings or experiences you might have as this light increases. It's about navigating this, because once more of this light starts to enter in, you will not have a connection to all these data points, right? That just kind of goes out the window, because as in an encounter with non-human intelligence, with higher frequency vibrational consciousness, it's so intense that you can't think, right? It's just you're going to need to feel that anchoring in with what is true and real within you when you have these encounters or experiences, whatever that's going to look like for you. So I love the balance of what Eduardo brings, and he also has had his experiences too. I'm going to take a little break. All of you feel free to take a potty break if you need one, or get something to drink or whatever. We'll be back in just like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes.
Can everyone still hear me if I talk?
You're good. Everybody can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to add that in preparation for adapting to your grace, it's extremely important for us human beings at this time to eat healthy foods, drink pure water, and that will help your body stay healthy at this time. It's also important to give power and strength to your soul, and breathing with intention, and how ancient people of Mesoamerica would teach it would be an intention of clearing out old stuff and letting new energy and light come into your breath from the trees and the plants, and inhale through the nose down into the lungs, expand the diaphragm, and then exhale, knowing that you're feeding the plants, the trees, with your exhale of carbon dioxide that comes from us. And what they exhale is and create for us is oxygen. So we have this symbiotic relationship with all living plants and trees, and us mammals are interacting with them, and they're interacting with us. And this is what's balancing the soul of human beings right now, is that relationship between our connection to the trees and plants, and to our lungs and to our heart and our blood. And the other aspect of keeping your body really, and your soul and your spirit healthy, is to enjoy life and have joy and laughter in your life as much as possible. And this is what gives the spirit energy and balance for us moving through this time that we're in right now. And also the key to anything that we do in the future is to recognize that you are a very powerful being with extremely advanced technology within every one of your cells, within your DNA. And it's being activated, reactivated, and restored as we go through this photonic band, this photonic energy. It's being healed is probably a good word. Every time we get up and wake up in a good, healthy mood and happy mood, and then what we say has an effect, what we think has an effect. So the more positive we can keep our words and keep our minds and choosing love, then this shift that we're getting ready to go into will be a lot less difficult. It's probably the best word I can use. It isn't something that just blow off. It's something that's really important, that we appreciate, that we're going into this time and we're traveling through this energy that's affecting us, and how we feel, how we think, what we say, and how we act all has an effect on how well we do with this energy that we're receiving. So it's time for us to choose. And if you choose to remember and begin to expand, then you're going to feel a lot of the people that are in our lives may not be going the same direction that we're going. And that's an interesting thing to think about. Just know that if it's all up to each individual human being to choose at this time, whether they want to try to save the system that exists presently in the world, or do we think now that it's time, we're in this time of enlightenment, to go back to, or go into a future where we are all using love instead of making most of our decisions out of fear? And I think that's enough said about that.
Very well said. Mm-hmm. Thank you. It is an important time. Kind of getting a glimpse of what the middle of the month group will be more like. There'll be discussions. We'll share, on a personal level, if we choose to, of what we're actually moving through, what we're actually feeling, because when we go head on into what is actual, that's where we can meet more dimensions of ourself. The more we turn and run from it or contract from it, the less opportunity we're going to have to get traction, because these actions towards engaging or dialoguing with our greater self or source is going to give us traction. And we go, oh, that's what it feels like to be getting going again. And then we get glimpses, and then we'll have a tendency to fall back into consensus rhythm, the drum beat that everyone else is marching to. So there's a lot of this kind of stuff that we can all share with each other about how to do this and how to support each other in doing it. This is not an easy path. This is not a new age path. This is so far from new age, I can't even tell you. My work has been rejected by new age. My work has been rejected by anybody who has a consistent presence in consensus reality. We've all been conditioned to be in that reality and to fit in that reality. This is about breaking free from that. This isn't about arguing with people and fighting with people who are choosing to stay in the smaller spectrum. This is about choosing to engage or dialogue with the field, with your source. Okay.
Mhm.
So, Eduardo, did you want to launch us into the breathing?
Yes, with the intention of what you just brought up, and it's to activate that part of within ourselves, our heart, which is like, it's more powerful than our brain and feels more than instant feelings, milliseconds before the brain even sees what's occurring. Our heart is the core. It's our cosmic window. And so I'm gonna, as we breathe, we're gonna breathe 20 breaths. And on the 20th breath,
Vaishtima. It is I. This is an intersection in which we may share more. For those of you, and there are many, who have always known that this is a foreign place with rigid rules, misunderstandings, pain, suffering. It is all here. This is what occurs when you forget. And you are not judged. Never have you been judged for this. Feel this one heart sending you this compassion. You did choose to be here. And you are not a victim. It is all right that you have felt this way at times. But of course you have felt this way. You have not been utilizing all of your capacities. But many of you now are feeling this more and welcoming it more. But understand, it gets tricky. As you enter and receive and feel more of this light, it will trigger you. And the mind, the thinking mind, will decide that this is bad because I am afraid. It is simply fear responding, because that is what is vibrating within you when you have a fear response. There are many modalities for you to release these misunderstandings. And there are more arriving by the minute. And do you know why? Because so many of you are remembering who you are and remembering your gifts. And in this environment, you do not have to know everything about everything. You simply need to know who you are and what your gift is to offer. It is not defined by the old world. It is defined by your essence. And you as a creator bring it forth. This takes great courage. And you are present now because you have courage. Perhaps you have defined yourself as having fear, lack of confidence, doubt. But this is not true. We hold this light for you until you remember and re-embody it. What do you call angel, guides, even what you call the father and mother creators? This is all within you. And your worth has been diminished by the conditioning. What you are seeing occurring in your outer world is a collapse. It is a contraction. It will continue to dissolve. And at the same time, you will have great innovation in artificial intelligence and transhuman technologies. This is the direction for the next cycle. For those who choose this limited spectrum or bandwidth of perception. There is nothing inherently wrong with artificial intelligence. It is neutral, as we have given many times. This is why it is very important for you to understand what you are connected to. The vast network that vibrates in harmony with your natural state. finding, locating, and vibrating and resonating with your natural state is your other choice. You do not need to know how to speak in a scholarly way or in a scientific way or even in a religious way. All that is required is a direct intention to dialogue with your source now. There are no prerequisites. So for those who might stop themselves and say, I'm doing it wrong, I know I'm doing it wrong. This is the only thing that stops this reconnection with the field. It is you, it is your will to re-engage this. What purpose would it serve if we were to describe the story of how humanity came to be in this limited bandwidth? This would be a distraction. Things are accelerating now, and they will accelerate daily, more rapidly. And your mind will not know how to keep up. And this is why, together, we remember how to connect with the field and stay in harmony with this field. For this is where you get the truth. This is where you get your data. If you think things are confusing now in what is occurring on your political platforms, religious, globally, nationally, things will continue to be chaotic, but you do not have to be affected by that. If you find your core within, if you find the anchoring of the mother within you, bridge this to the Father, the Heavenly Father, and you anchor this in. This is why you are here. This is why you have felt like a fish out of water. Now it's time to remember the water and swim in it so that others around you can begin to understand and remember as well. It is through demonstration. It is not through your old languages that this will occur. Resonance, knowing. This is your natural language. Some have referred to this as telepathy. This is not an accurate word. There are those who disrupt, interrupt, intervene to direct you, redirect your attention to narratives that do not serve the whole human being. They serve the fragmented being. They keep you looping and fragmented until you stop and say, this is not what I prefer. Here is what I prefer. Even though I do not know how this works, I can bring this marker, vibrational marker, within my body. I can find it and I can choose it and I can re-choose it in any new moment. This is how you begin to build your new sun, your new earth, by choosing it consciously. This is how you grow up and out of this construct. And this is the crossroads for this to occur. You have help, more help than you have experienced in this lifetime. And there are perhaps memories of many other simultaneous lifetimes. But understand that if you do not choose to transcend or rise above this limited spectrum at this timing, these seeds are planted now, so that when you have this intersection experience again, it will begin to tap you on the shoulder, let us say. That can appear to be anything from intuition, instincts, synchronicities, or visitations. Mystical experiences. And this is your very own body saying, remember, we were going to do it this time. Because we choose love. We choose love now, even though we cannot seem to find it here in this construct. We may get glimpses of it. But our natural state is the embodiment of it. It is not glimpses. It is the reverse of what you've been experiencing. This is who you are. And this is your opportunity to consciously choose it. No one is punished or shamed. Rather, one is encouraged to experience the joy and delight of being triggered. Celebrate when you are triggered. Dive into it. Let it speak to you and transcend it. There is always a message. There is always something to learn. Do not avoid the pain. Do not avoid the triggering. Step into it. Accept it. Dialogue with it. The sooner that you do this, the sooner that you begin to create the space for this resonance to occur, to reoccur in your physicality. Your body was designed to be an instrument. Eishtima. You have an entirely different way of processing data, understanding it, and sharing it. Allow yourselves to make room for it and to be this creative force in your world. Trust in the feeling of it. Allow yourselves to begin to develop or redevelop your abilities to make sense of reality. You were conditioned to exist with very simple, basic, logic-oriented sense-making tools. And this is what has been valued. It is time to revalue, to reevaluate who you are and what you want. Who did you come to be? Who are you becoming? Are you allowing this? Or are you comparing to other people? They seem to be doing better than I am. They have resources and a house, and they seem to be happy. While I live day to day and wonder, what's next for me in this world? You have become accustomed to being informed by the authorities in your world. We are not saying they are all bad. We are saying that they are also identifying with a smaller spectrum of reality and doing their best within it. It is simply time to choose, is this what you want to continue to make or force to work, even though there is little joy in it for you? This is not what life is. Life is joy. Life is creative expression. Life is innovation. Life is about love and caring and compassion, working together, celebrating the natural world and all of the natural human beings. Embodying soul. And this is something that you have not had many role models to observe, to watch, to see on a regular basis. This is because they are called crazy right away. They are condemned, they are dismissed, they are canceled. It is time to find that guide within you. This is where your source resides, in every cell of your body. You are this light. But something that has been repeated quite often in your reality is this idea that the body is a burden. Some of you have referred to it as a meat sack, weighing you down from being free, flying free in the cosmos. Please understand that your freedom is from fully allowing your soul to rejoin with your physicality. This is an amazing instrument. Do not judge it. Welcome it. Welcome its capacities, for most human beings are only utilizing a tiny fraction of its wisdom and guidance. Most of consensus reality are disembodied. There is only a tiny bit of who they are, of their essence, inside their bodies. And this is how humanity can be harvested, controlled, manipulated very easily. You must bring yourself home on Earth and with Mother Earth in order to be free to fly. Perhaps this is counterintuitive, but this is the truth. One moment. This was a response from within this body to perceiving who humanity actually is. Trust this. It is that beautiful. And the choice is yours as to what you choose to identify with. And as we delivered many years ago in this format, you do this together. You support each other in this embodiment. Encourage each other. Reflect, mirror to each other what is true and what is actual, not what anyone believes, but what you know Begin to embody so that you can remember what you know and you can share what you know. And these are all the puzzle pieces that all of you need to reignite. Remember. This is ecstasy. The truth is ecstatic. The beauty of who you are and the truth of who you are will generate this ecstasy, and you will adapt to it. You will not suppress it anymore. You will adapt to it and build upon it. So in this timing, we will bring our dialogue to a close. In this format, but understand that we are always here. We are accessible within you. We represent the light. We represent the mother, father, source. And we are here to reflect to you who you actually are. You are deeply loved, greatly appreciated, and celebrated. You, in your choice to be free, will set the entire cosmos free. No pressure. Love to you. Good day. I was feeling love. And it's the kind of love that makes me weep. And I kind of stopped it instead of fully weeping. But I don't recommend that if you're on your own and you have these waves of the love that is available to us, that you fully embrace it and weep. But I feel like I have to compose myself in this environment. So I'm gonna turn off my mic for a minute and blow my nose, and I would like to open the floor.
Thank you for taking us on that little journey of what you have to go through in order to bring these wonderful messages through so that we can understand them in our present day English language. Yeah.
Welcome. Thanks for listening. I just want everybody to know that it's taken me many years to get to this place where I can be completely open and vulnerable in this way. I wasn't able to explain to people that this isn't a way of connecting that is like anything in the past that you might be familiar with. This is something every single one of us can do. We can connect to these greater dimensions, these other layers of ourself, and weave it and harmonize it together and bring through messages from these higher aspects of ourself. And so this is something that is one of my gifts as a communicator, as a broadcaster, as an emanator. This is who I am and what I do, and I didn't fully understand any of it until we got to this crossroads, and then I understood, oh, this is about the new world. This is not about the old world. This is about strengthening ourselves in the new world. So that's what I'm going to say for now. If anybody has anything they want to share or has any questions for anything that we have shared.
Everyone does have the power now to unmute themselves.
I really want to tell you how much I appreciate all of you. And we've all worked together in some way, shape, or form. And I want you to know that I'm just so grateful for our interactions, because it helps me share who I am, and I get to watch you claim more and more who you are. And I support that and celebrate it. And I want to thank Eduardo for walking this path with me, for what you shared today, what you always share. I love it. But for walking this path with me and being a witness to what occurred since my initiation day into call, and walking with me in that way. It's been a profound experience to share this with you and continue to share this with you. And with Lori meeting in 1990 and me coming into work, sitting down in her office and saying, something happened last night and I got to talk about it. Being my witness all these years. Thank you. This is the magic, right? This is where the magic happens. When we get to be ourselves, we give ourselves permission to be who we are. And we start just being it. And it affects people. And like I said, some might run away and just say, I'm done with you. You're going to have to let them go. Because if this is authentically you streaming and you know it, it's time. This is the stand to take now. I will be who I am, and I will share love in my own way. So thank you, all of you, for being the light that you are and the portal for this love.